Good morning, everyone. I hope I'm not going to run out of memory. I forgot to download the video from yesterday, or upload it. I'm doing it now. So I couldn't. Okay, whatever. Had a great day yesterday. Went to town. Finally got all the stuff together and brought it to a thrift store has existed here for 20 years, more than that. And it was fun. There was one lady there, and they're easy. I called and I said, "Hey, you guys take donations?" "Yes." I said, "When do you take them?" "Anytime we're up." And I said, "Oh, good. I don't have to make an appointment or what?" "No, just come on." And I said, are there certain things you don't take?" I said, "Oh, we just take about everything. Easy, easy peasy, right? Went there, sure enough, had people helping unload. And then saw this little suitcase, about this big, tiny little thing. And it said, "Going to Grandma's." And I thought, oh, I just pulled a bunch of Breyer horses out somewhere. I'm going, she's going to be 5 years old. That'd be perfect. Yeah, give them to her. She loves horses. Mommy has one too. And a real one. So I thought, man, I'm just going to give her those, and found this little, going to Grandma's little suitcase, which she goes to her other grandma, her daddy's mommy, and often enough, right? Yes. So I'm fixing it up. It's basically perfect already. So I brought a bunch of stuff there and went home with one little thing. I couldn't help myself. Yes, then we got some other stuff done. It was great. I was tired when we got back. But the power was back on. Yeah. Power back on. So that was great. Anyway, I had a wonderful day. Then I saw something this morning. And again, it's one of those things where how are we influenced out there by other people's ideas? And then if we are on a certain side, right, you don't really want to chastise someone or say, but I don't think that's right either. So I'm not just going to be the enemy of one person because, I'm on a certain side, and then just accept everything that's going on that side, even though I full well know that's not right either. I consult God for everything. I really do. Because I know that I'm still fallible in certain things. And the interesting thing is that every time, right, when I'm being assessed, what do I say often? Reflect before you react. Right? So I saw this post, and someone that I admire very much for his stance, yes, and some things, put something on and made fun of another person in a way due to the person's stance on the other side, but one can tell that he's very conflicted and is trying to admit to something that he shouldn't be admitting to, knowing where he's coming from or who he is supporting. And my first inclination was, this is really funny. This is like a comic show or something, right? It's like the way the guy, right, comes across is just, it was, okay. If one were to make him read what he just said, it wouldn't make any sense, more or less. Yet, one can hear out of it that he's very conflicted and is trying to, can't we get along? I'm admitting, yes, that's what was said, yet where he is now and has been for so many years, he can't abandon that place either, right? Yes? So my first inclination was going laugh icon, right? Yeah, the guy doesn't make sense. Listen to him. And then I said, wait. What am I doing? What do I want to do? So I went in first and read the comments. And then, yeah, okay. So I realized that that's the wrong thing to do. Besides that, I know that person and his wife and I like them. Regardless, I like those two. They're a wonderful couple. Wonderful man, wonderful woman, right? Yes. And then suddenly, right? So I was going to say, Father, what do I do? He says, you have to do the right thing. You go in and let the person know who posted it that you like them, that you have met them. They're not just cyberspace people to you. And that if one can hear how conflicted that person is really now, right? And is admitting to some things or brings it up and says, yes, I know, yet, yeah, then one should acknowledge that because he's trying, right? Yes? Oh, suddenly a change is happening somewhere there and one's trying to do what? The right thing. Yes? Even though one has been following something like, but yet the person that person is following is also very important to them and they know them, right? One doesn't leave people behind kind of thing. Okay. So I went in and said, we shouldn't. So he's trying to just make it just for all somehow. I said, one shouldn't make fun of that. I also mentioned it's very difficult to teach anybody anything when they have, and they're so set in something else, then you have to just wait. And the best advice is, well, go study up on it, right? Inform yourself better. Get deeper with what God's will is and what our purpose is here in life. Okay. An example came to my mind where people who are addicted to things, right? Awful things, that's destroying them, makes them into thieves, this and that, right? Even murderers. Unless they come to you and say, I'm done, I need to get out of this. Unless they come to you, you can't do anything about it. You have to just watch. You have to watch, protect your stuff, maybe. Sometimes one has to just say, well, I can't have anything to do with you right now. You're not a good example around my children. This and that. What did I talk about yesterday? And, well, so be it. But when the person comes and says, I'm ready to clean up, I'm ready to get sober, this or that, then you step in 100%. Then you help 100% wherever you can. Oh, yeah, well, that's it. That is when God can start to work. And if you work together with God, you can save many lives from total destruction. Yes? It's a little difficult to understand. I found that trying to tell people who are not ready to do that, sober up, get away from their addictions, you're wasting your time. You can love them from afar. Again, don't disregard spirit world on how spirit world can work when you have a deep desire for someone to be better, to get better. It works that way too, but you have to wait. Right? In the meantime, we shouldn't condemn them, right? Or talk nasty about them, gossip about them, slander them. Right? That's not God's way either. Right? There's another thing I saw, and I had to go in and say, I'm just going to say this simple phrase because everybody should know what I'm talking about. I said, God would never talk about one of his children in a degrading way or anything to elevate another of his children. Never. God doesn't even know what that is, how that works. We do for some reason. And we think that some of us are better than others or this or that. Yeah? Yes? That's not God's way either. He would never. As a parent, a mother, there's no way I will elevate one of my children, make one of my children look better by putting another one of my children down. That's an awful thing to do. A very awful, awful thing to do, isn't it? Yeah. Well, anyway, so that's what I have to say to begin with here. Now let's get going here. We are in 2 Samuel 19. David mourns for Absalom. Something comes to my mind now, but it's not often the case. Well, people are alive, then when they're dead. Okay, all right. The king shuddered. He went up to the room over the gate and burst into tears. And as he wept, he kept saying, "Oh, my son Absalom, my son Absalom. Oh my gosh, Absalom." All right. Daniela, I can't help it. Come on, this is so false here. Okay, when it is so false, say something too. Okay? Well, anyway, if only I had died instead of you. Oh, Absalom, my son, he could have confronted, if that were true, if that was real, if that sincerity would be real in David, he would have confronted Absalom and said, "You want to kill me? You go right ahead. I want you to live." But he didn't do that, did he? Oh, this is very sad. Oh, Absalom, my son. Word was brought to Joab. The king is weeping and mourning for Absalom, but he wasn't mad about it, was he? Well, let's see. Maybe that'll come up. For the entire army that day, victory was turned to mourning. The troops, having learned that the king was grieving for his son, and that day the troops came furtively back into town like troops creeping shamefacedly away when deserting in battle. Well, what were they expecting? A party? The king had covered his face and kept crying aloud, "My son Absalom, oh Absalom, my son. Oh my God, what a show. We already know David is good at putting on a show. Joab went inside to the king and said, "Today you have made all your servants feel ashamed. Today, when they have saved your life, the lives of your sons and daughters, the lives of your wives and the lives of your concubines." Wait a second. Absalom didn't kill the concubines in Jerusalem. But he didn't kill him. So what's Joab doing again here? Because you love those who hate you and hate those who love you. What? Ooh. Hey. Today you have made it plain that commanders and soldiers mean nothing to you. For today I can see that you would be content if we were all dead, provided that Absalom was alive. Well, he's pulling things out of proportion here, isn't he? Now get up, come out, and reassure your soldiers, for if you do not come out, I swear by Yahweh, not one man will stay with you tonight, and this will be a worse misfortune for you than anything that has happened to you from your youth until now. The king got up and took his seat at the gate. An announcement was made to the whole army. The king is sitting at the gate, and the whole army assembled in front of the king. Who is the king here of all the mercenaries and others? It's not the people of Israel. It said beforehand. David and his retainers were fighting who? Israel. Who is the king here? Sounds like Joab has everybody under control. And how is he doing it? What was I talking about beforehand? There's nobody putting Joab in his place and saying, you were an instigator of all kinds of stuff. And he won't take responsibility either. Yeah? He's fixing it to go to David. He's allowed to talk to the king like that and tells him, "Hey, look, buddy." Right? Yes? He's not. Joab is a cruel, cold-hearted dude. That's what I find here. Considering, remember what he did when one of his sons got killed by that one army general? You know what he did? Remember what he did? It here is David's son. Okay, again, man, David, you could have just confronted face to face your son if he really felt that way, that he would have rather died. But he ran away. Okay, all righty. Okay. Preparations for David's return. Israel had fled. Wow, what a turn this has taken. Israel had fled from their own king, dispersing to their homes. Throughout the tribes of Israel, all was dissension, and people began saying, the king, having freed us from the clutches of our enemies, having saved us from the clutches of the Philistines, has himself had to flee the country to escape from Absalom. And now Absalom, whom we had anointed to reign over us, has died in battle. Why does no one suggest that the king should be brought back? Well, interesting. What was being said throughout Israel reached the king. King David then sent word to the priests Zadok and Abiathar. Say to the elders of Judah, why should you be the last to bring the king home? You are my brothers, you are my own flesh and bone. Why should you be the last to bring the king back? And say to Amasa, are you not my own flesh and bone? May God bring unnameable ills on me, and worse ills too, if you do not become my permanent army commander instead of Joab. Oh! All right. So, wow. Are you guys all hearing this? It's interesting what I talked about again before, right? Yes? Man, every time, is it really such a coincidence? Every time. I don't read this beforehand. I talk beforehand. And somehow always it comes, look at the mess here with the relationships between the people, the king, and where's God in all of it? This is supposed to be the Bible. Hello, people. Not some novel out there written about what? A king and his people and all the whatever is going on. Yes? And how important suddenly now does flesh and bone become? Well, what's more important than the flesh and bone of a father and a son? Tell me. And in order to fix it all now, well, let's see how it's going to go. Thus he rallied the hearts of the men of Judah to a man, and as a result they sent word to the king, come back, you and all who serve you. Episodes connected with David's return. Oh, okay, now we're getting a little more. We're going to get more of the stories. Oh, this is a long one. Shimei, remember Shimei? Yeah, he's the one that cursed David. Mm-hmm. So the king started home and reached the Jordan. Judah, coming to meet the king to escort him across the Jordan, had arrived at Gilgal. Shimei, son of Gera, the Benjamite of Bahurim, hurried down with the men of Judah to meet King David. With him were 1,000 men from Benjamin, Ziba, servant of the house of Saul, with his 15 sons and 20 servants, arrived at the Jordan before the king, and worked manfully ferrying the king's family across and doing whatever he required. Whoa! While the king was crossing the Jordan, Shimei, son of Gera, fell at the king's feet and said to the king, I hope my lord does not regard me as guilty of a crime, Forget about the wrong your servant did on the day my lord the king left Jerusalem. Let my lord not hold my guilt against me, for your servant is aware of having sinned, and that is why I have come today, the first member of the whole house of Joseph to come down to meet my lord the king. Well, that dude isn't a dummy. He knows how to protect his family. At this, Abishai, son of Zeruiah, spoke up and said, Does Shimei not deserve death for having cursed Yahweh's anointed? To which David replied, What concern is my business to you, sons of Zeruiah, that you should oppose my wishes today? Could anyone be put to death in Israel today? Today I know for sure that I am king of Israel. Your life is spared, the king said, and the king gave him his oath. All righty then. Meribal. Meribal, son of Saul, also went down to meet the king. He had not cared for his feet or hands. He had not trimmed his mustache or washed his clothes from the day of the king's departure till the day of his peaceful return. Well, that sounds like a faithful soul. When he arrived from Jerusalem to greet the king asked him, Why did you not come with me, Meribal? My lord king, he replied, my retainer deceived me. Your servant said to him, Saddle the donkey for me to ride so that I can go with the king, your servant being lame. He has slandered your servant to my lord the king. Oh, yeah, he sent the donkeys and the bread and this and that. My lord the king, however, is like the angel of God, so do as you think right. The angel of God. Okay, with what we just read, all this snot about David. Is David the angel of God? Anybody says, oh yeah, he's the anointed, you're a fool. All right. Sorry, it's true. It's like the angel of God, so do as you think right. My father's entire family deserved no better than death from my lord the king. Excuse me. He was anointed by God supposedly too. And yet you admitted your servant to the ranks of those who eat at your table. What right have I to make any further appeal to the king? The king said, You need say no more. I ruled that you and Ziba divide the property between you. Oh yeah, he gave Ziba everything that Meribal had. Why doesn't he get some information about all this beforehand? Ay, golly. Let him, nobody wants to know the truth. Nobody goes and searches for the truth. It's like, okay, let him take it all. Oh, let him take it all, Meribal said to the king, since my lord the king has come back home in peace. There's something about this Meribal I really like. All right. Barzillai. Might as well say Godzilla. I've never heard of that guy. Who the heck is that now? Did we have this? Barzillai, the Gileadite, had come down from Rogelim and accompanied the king towards the Jordan, intending to take leave of him at the Jordan. Barzillai was a man of great age. He was 80 years old. Great age. He had kept the king in provisions during his stay at Mahanaim, being a very wealthy man. Come with me, the king said to Barzillai, and I will provide for you at my side in Jerusalem. Barzillai replied to the king, How many years have I left to live for me to go up to Jerusalem with the king? I am now 80 years old. Can I tell the good from the bad? Has your servant any taste for his food and drink? Can I still hear the voices of men and women singers? Why should your servant be a further burden to my lord the king? Your servant will go a little way across the Jordan with the king, but why should the king reward me so generously for that? Please allow your servant to go home again, so that I can die in my own town near the grave of my father and mother. But here's your servant Chimham. Let him go with my lord the king. Treat him as you think right. The king said, Let Chimham come along with me then. Who the heck is that? I shall do whatever you wish for him, and anything you request I shall do for your sake. Empty promises. Okay, all right. The people then all crossed the Jordan, and the king, having crossed, and kissed Barzillai and blessed him, and the latter went home. Okay, all right. Barzillai went home to die. I don't know. Judah and Israel dispute over the king. It's already starting again, guys. The king went on to Gilgal, and Chimham went with him. All the people of Judah accompanied the king, and also half the people of Israel. What? All the men of Israel then came to the king. Why, they asked the king, have our brothers, the men of Judah, carried you off and brought the king and his family across the Jordan, and all David's men with him? All the men of Judah retorted to the men of Israel, because the king is more closely related to us. Why do you take offense at this? Have we been eating at the king's expense? Have we taken any position for ourselves? The men of Israel replied to the men of Judah, we have 10 chairs in the king, and what is more, we are your elder brothers. So why have you slighted us? Were we not the first to suggest bringing back our king? The men of Judah's words were even more intemperate than those of the men of Israel. That's the end of 19. Well, what a long one. My golly. So here we are. And they're all starting already up again. This is just one hullabaloo after another. And these hullabaloos will never stop, including today. Right? Until the people start following God's guidance. Right? Look at the mess. Are you hearing the mess here? All the conflicted this and that, and then the scheming and the dealing and the, Absalom's dead. David's still alive. Now we got to grovel again in front of that guy, right? Yes? Not only that, then actually, the people of Israel, Israel, as they call it, when the people, the tribe of Judah, brings the king back, they're perturbed and turn the whole thing around as if Judah had done something wrong protecting the king. Right? However that went, this and that. I already talked about that. Yes? And are accusing them now. And the people of Judah said, well, we're closer related to him than... Well, was there any other tribes that were going to step up and take the king out of harm's way or something? Okay, according to and what went on here, it's a weird one, huh? On how they turned the wrongs they did themselves, all of them, around to make it the wrongs of the other side. Interesting. What did I start out with this morning? Okay. With a good day yesterday at the, all right. Well, anyway. God's guidance. Yes, give it a try. Oh, are we going to be always right then? We're all restoring. We're all still learning. Yes? A completely foreign way to all of us. All of us. Everyone. 8-point-something billion people in the world. Okay, excluding the kids. But they're being taught what as well? By the time they reach being teenagers, they've already been so influenced, not guided, by all kinds of just fallible, false ways of living together with everyone else. That God's guidance is just not there. It doesn't matter how much of a Christian you are, or how much of a Muslim you are, or how much of a Mooney you are, or how much of a whatever you are out there when it comes to all the religions. We're following religions, not God. Yes? Well, so be it, right? We'll try. We have to keep trying. Yes? Okay. Well, how illuminating. Thanks. Father. Oh. I better not say what was given to me. It's a private thing between God and I. Yes? Let God embrace you. Just do it, okay? It's the best thing you'll ever experience. All right, so there it is. That's all I have to say today. Time to get going here in the house with all kinds of different things. Yes? God's love and blessings always. May He protect you. Yeah. Oh, Eldridge, I know you watch the videos. I know I'm a little. I read your messages. I love your messages, and I want to say so much back, and I feel like the best thing I can do is just look. I'm here. I'm telling a little about my life. This, that. Doing all right. Doing very well. Keeping trying to follow God, doing God's work on earth, right? Yes, yeah, for the better of everyone. Trying. I know you are too. I hope you move well to your next home that you're going to. And I'm praying. It's the best possible way for you, where you can be that wonderful, beautiful teaching soul that you are. I love you, brother in faith. God's love and blessings always. May He protect you, and I will talk to y'all another time.